city is under some kind of death threat.
He said something big was gonna happen.
Somebody has to punish the corrupt.
Welcome.
You're fighting a war.
Cinematic University. I am your professor, Mario Rivera, and joining me is the marvelous doctoral student, Sly Clone MC, who has a bachelor's in the MCU, a master's in the multiverse, and is going for their dissertation in Marvel Studies. Sly, how are you doing today?
I am very happy to be here with you today, talking about a wild ride of a movie.
I'll say
Of course.
that. Yes. That is
The
one way
one
to
and
say it.
only Punisher Warzone,
That's right.
which I will say,
Yes.
I was very hesitant going into this movie. We all know our opinions on the 2004 Punisher.
Yes.
So I was a little terrified. And I gotta say, the hard reboot was the correct answer.
Yes, because that is correct. We are actually talking about Punisher Warzone, which thank God has nothing to do with the Thomas Jane one. We're of course talking, yes, Punisher Warzone 2008, and let's just go ahead and get right on into it. Of course, going into our first class, history class, directed by Lexi Alexander, who is a very action-focused director. Directed a couple episodes, if I'm not mistaken, of some DC shows, as well as some stuff going on right now. Definitely was a surprise pick, I think, originally when this was first coming out, because this was the first female director that directed a Marvel-based movie before, even the Miss Marvel, not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and before Wonder Woman really was a big thing as well. So this is cool. And the fact that it's a Punisher movie, I think, is just the cherry on top. But there's specifically something in this movie that I want to talk about that I was shocked that she had a major part of. And we'll get there. This movie, of course, is written by Nick Santora, Art Markham, and Matt Holloway. The studio is still Lionsgate from last time. So this does not star Thomas Jane. This stars Ray Stevenson, Dominic West, Julie Benz, Wayne Knight, and quite a few others that we'll probably bring up. One specifically, Benvolio from the Romeo and Juliet movie, plays Soap in this. He just plays the same character, but he's in New York. It doesn't matter.
I was like, Dominic West, one of my new favorite Downton Abbey characters.
Yeah. Most people would probably know him from the show called The Wire here in America. He's also in another one. It's that love affair movie or TV show about I don't know. I don't watch it. It's on Showtime, but shocking to see him pull out this type of performance. But of course, you can watch this movie. Where you can stream it, of course, is Pluto TV. However, I watched it and I checked it for Sly. It has absolutely no options for subtitles whatsoever. So that sucked. So I sent you hopefully a $10 gift card for Amazon. Which
You did, thank you. It was much appreciated.
I was like, I think I see it says subtitles on, of course, on Amazon. So if you would like to rent, I think you can also buy the DVD for like $5. But we were trying to go ahead and do this fast, so we got ahead and rent it. And of course, this one's a long one. I'm very excited. Here you go, Sly. Can you please deliver us the plot?
Just quick reading over this. Ungodly use of commas here, and no grasp on grammar, so I apologize in advance, but I'll do my best here. Alright. Frank Castle, the ex-military man whose family was killed by criminals, who became a vigilante known as the Punisher, goes after a whole mob family and gets everyone except enforcer Billy Russotti. He tracks Russotti down and chases him into a vat that is used for crushing bottles. Frank turns on the crusher, hoping it would take care of him, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. He survives, but sustains very severe injuries. So even with plastic surgery, his face looks like a jigsaw puzzle. period space. So he decides to adopt the name Jigsaw. That's a sentence fragment, but it's fine. Moving on.
Yeah.
Frank, who killed one of Rusati's people, who, unknown to him, is an undercover Fed, decides to pack it in. For like 5 seconds, but okay.
Yeah.
But when he learns Rusati didn't die and is looking for the money he entrusted to the Fed and will go looking for it at his home, which means his family is in danger. Very long run on sentence there. So, Frank tries to save them,
Short sentence.
but Rusati wants revenge on Frank. So he breaks out his brother, who is so crazed that he is committed to an asylum, to deal with him. Come on, proper nouns. And also another Fed, who's a friend of the man Frank killed, wants him too. Thank you, RCS0411@yahoo.com. You might want to put that through a spell check.
Oh man, Grammarly, it's a hell of a bitch. I'm so happy you read that because I saw how long it was. It's like just copying. I'm not reading it. Just gonna copy it and paste it right in there. Because I wanted to see our genuine reactions to it. And yeah, sure, that gives most of the plot, I guess.
That's like the first. I guess that's the first half of the movie.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
know.
All right, well, that's good. Of course, yes, this movie features the characters, of course, the Punisher. It has the first on-screen introduction, I believe, of Jigsaw, and a interpretation of Microchip, aka Micro, who, if you've watched the MCU, there is a version of him, if I'm not mistaken, on that show. But not like this, and we'll talk about that.
Absolutely not like this.
And we'll talk about that and the reason why. But of course, we're going to go ahead and move on to our Stanley seminar and talk about what we thought about the film. Sly?
I have one question.
Yes. Go ahead.
What the fuck was this film trying to be?
I don't know, but I'm also excited by that. I have no clue.
Yeah, like, I have so many feelings about this film.
Yeah.
I have so many feelings about Punisher, right? And we talked about that extensively in our Punisher 2004 episode, right?
Yeah.
I adore Netflix's Punisher. Like, that man does it for me, right? I love that story. It's just so fun and like interesting, and and so I have like a lot of love for the Punisher as a character. And I enjoyed this movie. I'll start there. I enjoyed it. This movie felt like it was trying to be 5 different things at once.
Yes.
And I didn't hate it, but I don't know if I loved it.
That's fair.
I have gone on record with my very hot Thor Ragnarok takes that I did not enjoy that movie because it was trying too hard to be 2 very different things at the same time.
Sure.
And it did not hit for me. So I don't typically like when a movie tries to do many different things and they conflict, but this had so many things happening at the same time. I think it kind of worked.
Just to interject for a second, I want to say, we're coming off of obviously a run of movies that I think have definitely had an interesting color palette to them, different styles to them, feeling still very comic booky, still in a certain era. And this is like slap dab in the middle of that like feels, this is hella comic book. Almost feels too comic book.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like it goes between like, I'll say the Hulk, but also goes all the way back to like Dick Tracy, which is like super colorful and weird looking characters, and everyone's got a weird nickname. It's awesome.
The thing is, you start like the credits, the opening credits, right?
Yes.
And they're very comic booky. They're
Yes.
diving deep into that, using the comic book aesthetic. And it does that, but this there's this term in fan fiction.
Yeah.
A fic will be referred to as crack fic, which means it's like unhinged and kind of off the rails.
Yeah.
This felt like crack fan fiction.
Mhm.
So there was that. So it's comic book, it's crack fic, it's a hard-hitting commentary on the American military industrial
Yes,
complex.
yes, it is. It's so good.
And then it's also the like core Punisher story of anti-hero man with like a will do anything.
Yeah, with a
A
mission, a
man with a
code.
code,
Yeah.
but will do anything for a small child / young girl.
Yeah.
And so all of those 4 things are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it.
No, you're 100%. It's funny. You're watching this like man takes out the like this mob family, but then yes, we'll go into a section where it's like we're making commentary on like biological weapons, but then also having Jigsaw actually recruit people in the same way that he talks about how the military does. But then at the same time, we have this goofy villain that is off the rails and is having the time of his life and just saying shit that it makes me laugh every time he does it, and has a pretty beautiful relationship with his brother who is also just off the rails. And you know what? I'm fucking here for it. I'm not gonna lie. I knew this movie was awesome when I met the parkour drug heads. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
That's the thing. We start with like super Italian
Yes.
New York mob family.
Yes.
And then we get like Daredevil-esque, like swinging from the chandelier, like murder everybody scene.
Oh my god.
And then we get, like the cops are like informing Punisher, which is like a whole nother commentary in of itself.
Yeah.
And then we have the absolute chaos that becomes Jigsaw and Looney Bin Jim. And I'm just like, wow. What is this?
Oh man, not to mention, and the reason why I mentioned microchip specifically, because I was not expecting to have the guy from Seinfeld be microchip and just be in this movie, and to be not only a massive part of the final act. I was not expecting, and man. I'm gonna hold off on the final act because the final act is fucking crazy, and I want to talk about that as well. But yeah, no, this movie is just wild and weird, and it doesn't make sense in a lot of ways. But you know what? I was in for the ride, almost step by step. Now there are definitely moments, and I will say, like, if I had to choose between this Punisher, the character, and last ones, I would rather hang out with Thomas Jane's. I just think that he just a better Punisher overall. However, the stuff that this one does is absolutely crazy. Specifically when he uses a rocket launcher, which I didn't see coming at all.
Yeah. That was the thing. Like the story,
Yeah.
much, holds up a lot better, much more put together.
Sure.
Right? But
Easy to follow.
The character
Mhm.
of Punisher here, I didn't really I wasn't that attached to.
Yeah.
And as somebody who has previously been very attached to different iterations of this character, that was he was fine. He was there. He led the story or whatever, but I wasn't rooting for him.
Yeah.
I was rooting for God, what's his name? Carlos R.I.P.
Oh
I
yeah.
was rooting for him.
Oh man. They
Um,
gave him several moments where you like humanized him, and then you take him away in the most. Oh my god.
I was kind of rooting for the sassy emo kid.
Oh my
Like,
god. You're talking about Ink?
also
Oh my
R.I.P.
god. You know, Ink. I love Ink. Oh my god. If
I
I
love him so
He
much.
was so listen. If you want to know what my type is, it's fucking trashy hero dudes with black hair, skinny face, just pumping coke every now and then. Just like, what the fuck am I in? I'm just working with my father. What the fuck is the situation? It's so fucking good.
Love that
His
for him.
beautiful face gets smashed, just fucking like a
Oh
pumpkin.
yeah. Oh yeah. But like I said, like the character of Punisher here, I think he was well acted, but it just wasn't. He wasn't the shining star of this movie,
No,
and it's movie. So
yeah, no, 100%. Literally, he just was just a driving force to be sad. Okay, so this is what I want to say. I said on Twitter that this movie is basically the same plot and story of Batman Forever. If you haven't watched it, which essentially is Batman doesn't want to be Batman no more, but he takes on an orphan because he feels sad about having his parents die, and then therefore has to make a choice at the end between the girlfriend that he likes and his partner, and that's literally this movie for majority of it, and I fucking love it. And there's two bad guys, so there you go.
right on the money.
Yeah, again, I just found this just super entertaining as much as like, however, it is 2 hours long, and I do feel it in this movie. It is a 2 hour and 11 minute
Is
movie.
it?
It's a 2 hour and 11 minute movie. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and
I
find.
thought it was 100 minutes.
Here, let's look this up real quick.
I could have sworn it
Oh, you
was
know what?
100 minutes.
You know what? I was watching it on Pluto TV. They had ads, so that might have included. It might have included ads.
Okay. Because I was going to say, we all know I love a tight 90.
Yeah.
And this is not a tight 90. It has, 10 extra minutes. It could have been trimmed down. I think it would have been a little bit stronger if it was a tight 90, I gotta say. There was a little bit that could have been brought down. The beginning was a little long.
Yeah.
It was lots of people being angry in Italian for just like a hair too long. But it's 100 minutes, so like it's not too egregious. It's
Yeah.
not like we're watching a 3-hour movie here.
Yeah, I'm looking here now. Yeah, it's an hour 47. So yeah, exactly. So the Pluto version added an extra like 20-30 minutes to this watch. I was sitting there for a long time, I won't lie to you. And I had the same ad again. I'm gonna just pivot from the movie for just a second. I had the same ad, which is the oh my god, Breaking Bad guy. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Anyways, he wins the lottery. I had that same ad 1,000 times. It was like Ben and Margot Go Large is like the name of the movie. Like, anyways, no. Don't watch it on Pluto TV. Too many ads. But yeah, in terms of just overall enjoyment through second, whenever all of a sudden Jigsaw, comes back on screen, I'm just having the time of my life. I think the makeup looks decent for what they did and the way he emotes. I know when he's happy. I absolutely adored his final outfit at the end. This sort of one suit, like almost Michael Jackson-esque like bodysuit that just was awesome.
It was giving like I think the goal of it was trying to like emulate like an officer's like uniform shirt with like it looked like it meant to have epaulets or whatever, and it was the very straight buttons.
Yes.
And I was like, I see what you're doing here. You're giving this impassioned speech about how you're recruiting people in the same fashion by preying on them as the American military, and you're giving very much like uniform shirt. I see what you're doing here.
I loved it, and I loved him and Jim just strutting down the street while they're recruiting different minority groups.
I love a straight leg march. Like, it's so impractical, it's a pain in the ass to do, nobody uses it, but I love the aesthetic.
Oh, just again, I would love a spin-off movie of just Billy and Looney Bin Jim. I think that they're a wonderful pairing, and I don't know. I think they could possibly entertain me for like a television show. So, God, I hope that whatever we ever get another iteration of these characters, I hope they're just as fun. But I highly doubt it.
James and Jigsaw spin-off TV show.
I mean, listen, if Happy Days can have like 7 spinoffs, why not? You know, just the new Laverne and Shirley is just James and Jigsaw. I'll be totally down for that.
I gotta say, my biggest shock of this movie was Soap.
Yeah,
The
Benvolio.
police officer, yeah,
Yeah.
he Benvolio was also informing Frank Castle, and I was
Yes,
like,
that was a good.
"What?"
That was good. I didn't see that
That
coming.
was a great moment. I was like, "Okay, we got the first, you
Mhm.
know, tip at the top," but I was like, "This dude has all these cases. He's kinda useless trying to find this dude." And when it was like, "Nope, like, he knows it, he's just helping him," I was, like, shocked. I was not expecting such a strong reaction from me from this
Yeah.
story.
Which adds to the fact that, yeah, I mean, as much as there's, you know, people searching for this vigilante character, there's only
Mhm.
one person on this on this task force, and it's clear that they all don't give a shit and kind of happy that he's doing what he's doing. And you know, you can very such sense that by the time you get to the reveal that, oh yeah, Soap's been on this the whole time and probably goes to dinner with Frank. Because I love at the end he's like, "Come on, I gotta go to this bar down the street. Let's go." So good.
I thought that dynamic was so interesting because, like, I feel like every time we've seen Punisher, he's had a very different relationship with,
Yeah.
like, the law, and so this was a really interesting portrayal of that.
Yeah, for sure. If there was gonna be a version where the cops don't do their jobs because they have someone already doing it for them, sure, this would be definitely be the one.
Mhm.
I will say the other person that I found just a little bit of joy, and it was only because of his dialogue, was the friend of the Fed, the husband, right, who passed away. He has his buddy that, like, I guess we're on the same force together. He comes in, he goes to the he goes to the police station, and then he just immediately, like, whatever someone says to him, just like, I don't give a fuck about what you have to say, and just like spins it on and
Oh,
screams. I
Bodansky.
Budansky, yeah, I actually, there we go. Yeah, I wrote it. Yeah, some of the drama class stuff is just Budansky just swearing, and I just love his reaction to things. Specifically, the moment where when they have the little girl, they're at the home and they're saving the girl, and then Budansky is just standing there, and then Frank Castle just shoots the guy at the table.
Come on, right in front of me.
Yeah, just come on. It looks so bizarre, but I loved every second of it. Ugh.
He was great. I love, with my entire heart, I love a church scene.
Sure.
Anytime there's a church scene, love them so much. And this movie, man, does it give you a church scene. I love a confession moment. I think they're so interesting, and it was so well done, and I was just, oh, like, I didn't know how I felt about this movie for most of it, right? I was like,
Yeah.
"What are we doing here?" Right? And we get to the church scene, and I go, "You got me. You hooked me. Alright, I guess I'm in."
Oh man. Yeah. He's just like, sometimes I wish I just want to get my hands around God. Just like, damn, dog.
So good.
So goddamn good. Let okay, so let's go back to the final choice at the end, because I think this was wild as hell.
Mhm.
And this was, here's a piece of trivia. Alexia Alexander has an unwritten credit in the movie. The only scene she wrote was that last scene, between picking
Oh,
between the girl. Yes, the girl and I believe she is responsible for the lines like Micro, it doesn't hurt, it won't hurt a bit. And that is
oof,
crazy.
brutal.
I was like, he's gonna save them both, right? Like you think in any traditional movie, like he's gonna
Oh,
save
yeah.
them both. Fucking no, he makes an actual choice,
Yeah.
and it's shocking. Which I guess the writing's on the wall when you first see Microchip's mother in the movie too, which was also violent as all hell. But yeah, he makes a choice, shoots Looney Moon Jim, and then Jigsaw shoots Micro in the head and takes him out, and it is shocking as hell. But yeah, did you see that coming? Like, what was your thoughts on the fact that they were like, "Yo, we're going there"?
I didn't think they would go there, and then Micro has that line where he's like she's a kid or whatever,
Yeah,
and I went, oh fuck, he's dead.
yeah,
But the whole time I was like, maybe he'll figure it out.
yeah.
But I really appreciate that they committed to it. They said this is a gory movie.
Mhm.
You've already seen people's limbs blown off,
Yeah,
half their head blown off. Like they said, we're committing. He's gone,
yeah.
right? Frank is making a choice here.
Yeah, that again. First scene, because I've never seen this movie. This is the first time I'm seeing it, and to get to that big ending there, I was like, oh my god! And then of course, he does the thing where he saves the day. But to be in the sacrifice of something, I thought was wild. And then even Soap asking about it, Micro later, also felt that as well, which was pretty crazy. But and then let's yeah.
Speaking of the end, though,
Mhm.
that last shot
Yeah,
where Soap's walking away, so iconic. That was like my jaw legitimately dropped at that very last shot of the movie. I was like, "Oh my god.
yeah. When they have the sign thing,
Wow.
Jesus saves, if I'm not
Wow."
mistaken, right? And then
Uh-huh,
it just
yeah, and the
says
Jesus close and
says save
oh,
us. I was like,
so good.
oh, yeah, no, yeah. This movie just had a style to it. It committed. Does most of it work? I would say probably half of it, if not a little bit more past that. But otherwise, yeah, I think Lexi created a wild ass movie that. Am I shocked that this not? I am actually kind of shocked this did not get more sequels, if not direct to DVD sequels. I think that this would have easily been something that would have took off, but I didn't look up the box office. I actually don't think it did very well, which explains why eventually these rights go back to Marvel overall. But yeah, Punisher Warzone. It is a wild ass film. Let's see.
I will say, I
Yeah.
didn't think I liked this movie, and I came into this recording being like, whatever. But the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, I think I liked this movie.
That's the fun thing about it. It's just like over time, you're like, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about Looney Bin Jim. I'm still thinking about, oh my God, applesauce.
Kidneys and applesauce are a delicacy. Oh my god!
I asked you a question. Let me ask you again. I love this. Like, brother, you never have to look in a mirror ever again. And he starts oh my God, I don't want to jump into all our other segments, but the music. Oh my God, the music. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. First thing I want to say, compared to the MCU Parmar, I think we already kind of said that. I think that John Bernthal's MCU is still by far my definitive. I just think that this was a movie that I would love to have seen that John in, just because I think he would definitely have elevated even further.
If you put
Yeah,
John Bernthal's Punisher in this movie, it would be
wild.
up there,
Yeah.
one of the top for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing, the other scene I loved was actually in the very beginning when I believe it's the Punisher's driving away from the mansion and to the plant. He put something in his nose because his nose is broken, and he like corrects it
Oh
himself.
fuck!
Yeah.
I had a note about this.
Yeah.
Don't reset your noses with pencils. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You can reset your nose without jamming something up. It's not sanitary. Just don't do it. Don't reset your nose with pencils, please, for the love of God.
I love that the movie committed to that. I thought that was great. Does this movie hold up? Is it so worth
Great
watching?
character moment.
Mhm.
Great character moment. Terrible the medical moment.
Fair enough. I think we'll go ahead. Well, I think we'll ask that final question at the end of the show because I think we'll have a conversation. But let's actually move on to drama class and talk about some of our favorite lines. Of course, we have been saying them as we go along because they're just great. So we'll go ahead and continue forward. This one, of course,
I threw a couple in here.
Thank you, please, thank you. Do you want to do the first one? Do you want to be Frank Castle? Or do you want to be the priest?
I want to be the priest.
Okay.
God be with you, Frank.
Sometimes I would like to get my hands on God. Couldn't do it without laughing. So good.
So good.
So I was like, there's so many times, a movie's like good, bad when I go, let's go in the middle of a movie. Yeah. It's like, let's fucking go. So good. Next one. Do you want to be Billy or do you want to be Christy?
I'll mutter in Russian.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try Billy's accent because Billy's accent's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't actually know what they were muttering because the Russian was not like captioned or whatever, but he was muttering in Russian. So it was like the voice show.
Hey, you're not in Transylvania anymore, Christy. We don't talk vampire.
It's Russian.
It's so fucking silly.
That cracked me up because like Transylvania is Romania, like right? Like it's talking vampire. You dipshit.
I love it.
Fucking adored that moment.
Would you like to be James, aka Looney Bin Jim?
Sure. I don't know if I can channel the unhinged energy, but I'll do my best. I promise you two things. One, I will find Castle and I will kill him slowly and painfully. And two, you will never, ever have to look at your reflection again as long as you're with me. And then loses his shit on a bunch of fucking mirrors.
Just a bunch of fucking mirrors to Justice,
fucking
which was
body slams.
Fucking incredible. Just doing parkour. This movie had shout out to parkour. You get noticed for both these movies. So good.
Whoever did the stunt choreography on this movie had a blast. I can tell.
I think also Lexi Alexander is actually a former karate champion, so she's definitely had some aspects of this in here. So I think that's pretty dope. I'll go ahead. I'll do Paul Budansky as he comes inside the police station and just goes, "You have the right to shut the fuck up."
God, he was great.
God damn. Oh, he said this to Frank. Yeah, he says this to Frank when he was arresting him. Fucking, I love him so much. All right. How about this last one? Do you want to be Bud or do you want to be Soap?
Soap.
Okay.
We did it, Budinsky, huh?
You mind explaining to me how a handcuffed criminal escapes in the custody of the back of your locked car?
That Castle, he's a slippery one.
Fucking Soap. God, this movie
fucking love Soap. Shout out to Benvolio.
Yeah, Benvolio, fucking from Romeo and Juliet. I was like, I know this guy. I looked online, I saw his IMDb, and I'm like, oh, it's fucking Benvolio. That's where he went.
I did the same thing with Billy. I was like, "Who the fuck is this dude, and why does he look so familiar?"
Yeah.
And he played Guy in Downton Abbey in New Era.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit!"
It's about to go off.
Like, all right, Dominic West, I see you.
Oh man, I'm never gonna look at fucking The Wire ever again differently. It's gonna be so funny. Moving on to Music Room. Music Room, of course, is superhero movies of this era remembered for their original soundtrack. Does the music in this movie hold up or have any songs that are still bangers today? And well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is where I'm so excited because I have a few standouts that I immediately had to point out. I need a sip of water because we're going to be talking for a second. Oh my God. So we just did, obviously, in drama class, we did the scene, of course, where Looney Bin Jim promises that he will never have to look at a reflection again. And did I expect fucking Justice to start playing and him bouncing up in a bunch of mirrors? No, I did not. And it was excellent. And I was completely like, because I love Justice, I love EDM. I have certain songs of theirs, and the way that he's like bouncing around to Genesis, one of their more popular songs, absolutely floored me. God, that was exciting. The other thing, I'm also a Chicago native. I grew up with a little band called Rise Against, and whenever the parkour boys would jump around and machete people and like climb on buildings and get blown up by rocket launchers, it was to Rise Against Historia Calamitium, and I was like, what in the fuck? I can't believe we're playing this song right now. Absolute goddamn banger. But the song that is my most biggest standout was after the recruiting scene. They played Slipknot's Psychosocial, and I was just sitting there like, yeah, he's got an army. And that beat is so fucking doing it. Oh my God. I spent all day yesterday at work just fucking listening to that song. I was just so happy about it. Love it.
It is such a moment.
God, this movie.
Oh fuck! You know what we didn't put in drama class?
What?
The fucking I asked you a question. Let me ask you again.
Oh, I hate that it's happening to a character I love, but it's hilarious.
Unhinged.
The pun game, unreal. The pun game was unreal. Man. Okay. Well, I have to get off that high. That was great. This is probably our most unhinged episode so far, by the way. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
We are back, baby.
Okay. Speaking of back, we're gonna go back to quiz time. That's right. We're gonna try and answer some quiz. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, Sly. This was a hard one to do fucking trivia for. There's not a whole lot of trivia for this movie. So I got 3 questions. I'm going to start with the bottom question. I forgot to put that as the number 1 question. Does Stanley appear in this film? Can you answer that question?
I hope not. I did not see him. I have no idea where he could be. I really hope he wasn't in this movie, because if he did, it's probably his head getting blown
It was, yeah, that's most likely where he'd end up. No, he was not in this movie, so you gain a point. This is another Punisher movie that he actually has not appeared in. So, yeah, you get a point for that.
You really said no to the gory ones, huh?
Yeah.
Like, no Blade, no Punisher, not the vibe.
Yeah, just gonna stay out of it. Except for Deadpool. I think he's in Deadpool. So we'll find out when we eventually get there. So for our very next question, there was one actor that auditioned for the role of Jigsaw that gave a solid performance that impressed Lexi Alexander. I didn't space that, sorry, by the way. Which one of these cast members of She's All That was it? So I themed this question around just because I saw the name and I was like, what movie were they in that I could find other cast members that I could put as the answers? Is it A, Freddie Prinze Jr., B, Paul Walker, C. Matthew Scooby-Doo Lillard, or D. Usher? Which actor from She's All That auditioned for the role of Jigsaw in Punisher Warzone?
God, I have no idea. I hold on. I have to look up pictures of all these people.
That is
I
fine.
can't imagine any of them as Jigsaw.
Well, here I'll go one by one, and you tell me. Do you think most likely would done it? Okay, I'm gonna start with D. Usher. Do you think Usher would have been an Italian mob boss?
I really don't think yes.
All right. How about Shaggy Scooby-Doo Matthew Lillard, aka CL Punk?
Man, you know,
I'm not gonna lie, I would have loved it because I
so
loved him in Scream.
ridiculous. It could be, but my gut says absolutely not.
Could it be Fast and the Furious's Paul Walker?
It could. It really could be.
And then when you look up Freddie Prinze Jr., look up Fred from Scooby-Doo. I just want that image of him in your mind.
Oh man.
Out of these three white guys and Usher, who do you think could have been Jigsaw?
You know, I could have seen like an older Freddie Prinze Jr., but when I'm looking at Fred, absolutely not. I'm like, I could see Paul Walker. That's the only one who like wasn't an immediate no.
Final answer time.
I guess I'm going B.
Paul Walker. It was, in fact, Freddie Prinze Jr. that actually.
You know, I'm calling that half a point.
That's totally fine.
I could see it, and then you
Yes.
said Fred, and I was like,
Yeah, that was my caveat because that was roughly the time frame in which he was like, doing in this movie. So yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr. apparently impressed her so much that she wanted him to be Jigsaw, but then the studio was like, nah, we're gonna go another direction with it. And so it went to Dominic West, which put on, in my opinion, probably one of the best performances.
incredible.
Incredible. And for the last question, this was a dumb question. How many guns were used in the film? Was it A1, B7, C100, C120? This is not a trick question, I swear.
Is it? Because it feels like a trick question. Because we saw the
Yeah.
walls coming out and like the ceiling folding down in Micro's apartment.
Yep.
So there had to be at least 100. Like it it had to be up there.
Yeah.
I'm going to what? What am I going with?
I think we'll roll
I'm
out
going
one.
with C.
See?
Yeah, because Frank had at least
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4 on him alone.
Yeah.
4 or 5. So at least 7.
Yes. Yes. Final answer.
I'm going C. 100.
It is in fact 120 guns are in this movie.
You know, yeah,
Which-
that's fair. I buy that.
Which I would say is too many guns if they all really exist. That's for too many guns. There should only be like 2 guns maybe in existence. If that, no guns. But still, there is in fact 120 guns in this movie.
I have no qualms with hunting rifles.
Yeah.
I have no qualms with them. That's fine.
Oh, man.
Other than that,
It's
I have
excessive.
questions.
It's excessive, 100%. I don't even know if grenades count as a gun. I don't think it counts.
There's the fucking grenade launcher.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Final thoughts on the film. And of course, I'm going to throw in here, does this movie hold up, and is it still worth watching? Sly, I'll give you your chance to talk final on Punisher Warzone.
Not all of it holds up,
No.
which, there's some points that is like, that's a choice.
Yes.
But not nearly as many as Punisher 2004.
Yeah,
Not
shocking.
even close.
Like, this movie might be,
Leagues above.
this movie might be a little racist.
A little bit,
A little bit racist.
just maybe.
A little offensive to the mental health community. Pretty offensive to the Italian community. I'll say that. I'll stand up for the Italians out there. But you know what?
I did want to ask you, as very public half Italian on the internet,
Italian.
how did you feel about the Italian representation? In
The only positive interpretations of Italians we get are Martin Scorsese movies or The Sopranos. This is probably somewhere in between there. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't nearly the worst either. But I'll take what I can get.
right,
Yeah.
but should you watch this movie? If you go into it knowing there is going to be excessive gore, like
Yeah.
it is very explicit, and very unhinged, if that's the vibe you're going for, absolutely. This movie was a blast. Like, I was expecting like gore, right? It's Punisher.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the detail.
Yeah.
They really went all out with those prosthetics. It was a choice.
Yes.
But it was a roller coaster that by the end of it you went, I enjoyed that.
If this was a drinking game, you'd be dead by the end of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like how many people Frank kills. Oh, so wild.
Even if you just go take a drink for every time there is a mutilated body part explicitly focused on camera.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm just gonna say, you should see this just because I just think that if you can turn your brain off, this is definitely the turn your brain off movie. And at the very least, I think you'll have a fun time just goofing off with your friends and just enjoy all your substances. I don't know. I give this, I don't know if we give awards out on the show, but you know what? I'm going to give this the low high effort award of being the most lowest common denominator, but being the most high end, making me having a good time. I don't know what kind of award that is, but man, this is
we should at the end of season 1 do like an awards episode or something.
Yes.
But if we do that, this gets my most enjoyable with the use of substances. I feel like you need to be on a little bit of something to watch.
You gotta be. I honestly think so as well. Well, let's hope we don't have to be on anything for our homework for next week because it's going to be a doozy. I'm so glad we're following up this wonderful gem of a film with X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's right. We're going back to the X universe before all of the timey-wimey bullshit starts fucking up this timeline. So this is going to be a wild... You still have not seen this movie, right?
Absolutely have
Oh
not.
fuck, this is gonna be a good one. So please, if I'm not
This is the
mistaken,
one with the that was released without the visual effects, right?
it was the one that leaked on the internet, and it was available on all the sites. That was the work print of the movie that did not, in fact, have any of the CGI. And does the CGI make it better? No. So we'll
We'll
see.
see.
We'll see. You actually, Sly, you know what's funny? Do you know how they kept people going to seeing this movie in theaters? Is they released 5 special endings to this movie that were random. That you would, if you went to go see it, it had a different ending for each time you saw it. And
That
yeah,
that makes me so mad because that is brilliant. I
yeah,
love that idea. I really wish we got a
better
I
movie.
mean, I can't say it's a bad movie because I haven't seen it, but I really wish we got an interesting movie for that to occur.
Well, I'm excited to see this movie that also stars Will I Am with you next week, and
God.
yeah, and it's gonna be a good time. But until then, oh man, I lost the doc. Give me a second. Where can people find you on the net for next week?
You can find me
Oh,
yelling about all things fandom, etc., with a friend of the show, JJ, on Thursdays, on Thursday nights, on TikTok Live. You can find me yelling about video games with Mario and friends at Point in Progress on the main podcast. And you can find me yelling about all of the current Marvel shows and happenings over on We'll Throw the After Party, where we're live every Saturday night. We're currently talking about Miss Marvel, and Only Murders in the Building Season 2 starts very soon. And so I'm very excited. We'll be talking about that as well. It's going to be a great time.
very cool, very cool. And of course, yes, you can always find me here at the MC University, where we talk about all these wonderful gems of movies. But you can also find me over at Point in Progress, where there will be another project being started up soon, where we're going to be talking about movie-specific things. We'll be talked about later. But otherwise, I'm always also doing the Model Citizen show over there, and we're having an episode released very soon. So please check that out. But as always, class is dismissed.
You're fighting a war. This is just the beginning.
God be with you, Frank.
Sometimes I'd like to get my hands on God.
Punisher Warzone.